When I was writing the screenplay, I didn't want to limit my imagination in terms of the locations that I was adding in. I decided that I'm just going to go as vast and as spectacular as I could get in terms of visuals and in terms of locations. And I just had that innate belief that I'm going to be able to figure it out later on. And I think it's very important to have such a belief because filmmaking is such a hard task that if you don't have an innate belief in yourself, you just can't do it. And the other thing was, I thought, what if this is the last film I'm going to be able to make? So I didn't want to curb my imagination. I wanted to just go all out. And lo and behold, I came up with 10 locations. So here are the 10 locations that I had to find before the filming could start. So I had a teenager's bedroom, suburban neighborhood street, outside of a tall office building, front lobby in a building, interior parking lot, outside of a secluded withered cabin in a forest, living room of a withered cabin, open area at the back of the cabin, climbing of a mountain, and forest area at the top of a mountain. Wherever I would go with this list of locations, they all tell me these are just way too many locations and they are way too varied. There's no way you can find all of these locations in the budget that you're looking for. On top of that, there was no budget for a location manager, so I knew I had to do it all on my own. But I wasn't going to give up. I was determined to make this film no matter what. So I went through all the locations that I could find on the internet. Plus I visited movie studios and private owners because for locations, you have to kind of visit the place in person to see if this is actually going to work for you logistically and visually. So for over 2 months, I went through as many locations as I could find. I would drive as far as I could within a day to find these locations. And I found the first 5 locations in the east of LA at Riverside County. So for the Riverside locations, I went through the Riverside Film Commission. And it was one of the best experiences I had in making of this film because they just welcomed the film with open arms. They were very understanding of the vision I had and what I needed. They were very accommodating. They were very accessible through phone calls and emails. And so we ended up shooting 5 locations with the Riverside Film Commission. And they just brought in so much of positive energy and enthusiasm for the film. And so we shot the teenager bedroom scene, suburban neighborhood street, outside of a tall office building, day and night, front lobby in a building, and the interior parking lot. So these 5 locations were made possible with the help of the Riverside Film Commission. And I was just so grateful that they were so collaborative and helped us in making this film. I found the next 3 locations in the south of Los Angeles in the Silverado Canyon. It was a privately owned little cabin in the Silverado Canyon. And when I visited that location, I realized that if I angled my camera just right, I can give an illusion that this cabin is located in the forest when it actually wasn't. They were doing renovation of this cabin, and so they said that they just stopped the renovation for about a month and they're going to pick it back again. So I only had that little time to make sure I shoot and be done with it. And it just worked for what I was looking for visually because they had a fully functional cabin but with a kitchen, but then the walls were all torn down. And the outside of it, the exterior of the cabin just looked like a withered cabin. So it just was perfect for what I was looking for. This cabin had large space in the front and little space at the back. And I needed larger space at the back. So I flipped it. In the film, I presented the back of the cabin as the front of the cabin. And then I shot the front of the cabin as if it's at the back of the cabin. And you have to do these kind of tricks sometimes in the film to make it work. The next 2 locations were going to be very crucial for the film because about half of the film was going to take place at this location. So finally, I was able to find these locations in the east of Los Angeles at Malibu Creek State Park. So the climbing of a mountain was further divided into 3 different setups at this park. Now the final location was supposed to be at the top of a mountain, sort of a forest area. But that's not what it was. It was a flat area where I shot and was surrounded by the trees. But what I did was that I had some shots that I'd taken on purpose. It was all sort of planned in my mind already. In the Silverado Canyon, they had some beautiful mountains there. And so what I did in the editing is that I put one of the mountain shots from the Silverado Canyon, which is in the south of LA, before cutting to the forest area, which was supposed to be second half of the film. And so it looked as if it was sort of an illusion that it was taking place at the top of a mountain, but actually wasn't. So finding locations was a lot of hard work. And it was because there were budget constraints. I had to make sure that the locations were not too far from Los Angeles. I had to make sure that the locations were accessible, because you're going to take your cast and crew there. You're going to have a truck full of equipment to take there. And more importantly, I had to make sure that it worked with the vision and with the story, because otherwise nothing works. So you have to make sure that it works in all of these parameters. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I have to say that, yes, it was hard, but when you are passionate about doing something, that hard work is also fun.